Welcome to Statistics, where we bring complexity to clarity. I'm excited to have you join me for our second unit, Classification and Tabulation. Let's see what we mean by classification of data. The process of reduction of data to a manageable size is called classification, or the process by which the data are arranged in groups or classes according to similarities is known as classification, or it is a grouping of related facts into classes. For example, 5-kingdom classification of living organisms given by R.H. Whittaker. Why we need to classify the data? For that, let's see the objectives of classification. The first one is to reduce data in groups or classes according to similarity. For example, let's consider the classification given by Whittaker, where he has grouped living organisms into 5 kingdoms like Plantae, Animalia, etc. based on similarity in their characteristics. The other objectives of classification are to highlight items which possess certain attributes or qualities, to provide help in making comparison between items, to find out mutual relationship between certain measures and their effects, to present the data in a manner which is suitable for further treatment, to provide basis for tabulation. So these were the objectives of classification. Different types of classification can be done based on the nature of data as shown here. It can be geographical, chronological, qualitative, or quantitative classification. When the classification is done based on area, it is called geographical classification. For example, statistics of cotton crop like area, production, yield are measured and classified for different districts of Gujarat state. That is, the classification is done based on area, hence it is example of geographical classification. When the classification is done based on time, it is called chronological classification. For example, year-wise area of cotton. Here the area is noted for past 5 years, and hence it is the example of chronological classification. When the classification is made on the basis of some attributes, it is called qualitative classification. This classification is further divided into 4 types: one-way, two-way, three-way, and manifold. When only one attribute is considered for classification, it is called one-way classification. For example, when population is classified based on gender, that is, only one attribute is used for classifying, it is one-way classification. When 2 attributes are considered for classification, it is called two-way classification. For example, classifying population firstly based on gender and secondly based on education is two-way classification. When classification is done using 3 attributes, then it is example of three-way classification. For example, classification of population firstly based on gender, then education, marital status. So here 3 attributes, namely gender, education, and marital status are considered, hence it is the example of three-way classification. When more than 3 attributes are considered for classification, it constitutes manifold classification. For example, classifying population firstly based on gender, then education, then marital status, and location. So here 4 characters, that is more than 3 attributes like gender, education, marital status, and location are considered for classifying, hence it constitutes manifold classification. Quantitative classification. When the classification is made in the form of magnitude, it is called quantitative classification. Example, cows are classified according to milk yield. This classification is further divided into 2 types: discrete and continuous. Discrete classification, the quantity takes only integer or whole values, and there is a definite gap between the 2 values. For example, number of students in a class, number of bacteria in given area would always take whole numbers or whole values. They can never be in fractional or decimal values, like number of students can be 25, 30, 50, but it cannot be 51.3, etc. So here it constitutes of discrete classification. Continuous classification, the quantity which can take any numerical value within a certain range. They are in fraction. There is no definite gap between values. For example, height, weight, etc. Here, the values are in a range, that is 1 to 100. Then it can take any number 1.3, 51.7, etc. It can take fractional values and there is no definite gap. For example, of height, it can be 141.3 centimeters or weight can be 56.5 kgs, etc. So it constitutes of continuous classification. Now let's move to the second part of the unit, that is tabulation. The process by which the classified data are presented in an orderly manner by being placed in proper rows and columns of a table in order to bring out their essential features or characteristics is known as tabulation. Here, a table is a systematic arrangement of data in rows and columns. So we can define table as a systematic arrangement of data in rows and columns. Now we will see various parts of tables, starting with title. Title is a short description of table information. Here, table 1, wheat area, production and yield during 2021-22 in major producing states is called title of the table. Row, horizontal arrangement in table is called row. Vertical arrangement in table is called column. The intersection of a row and a column containing a single data point is called cell. The headings of rows are called stubs. The headings of columns are called captions. The main part of the table containing the data is called the body. Source note tells the source related to the specific piece of information and the authenticity of data. Footnote gives the additional information at the bottom of the table to clarify or provide context. So now let's have a quick revision about the different parts of table. Beginning with title, it gives a short description about the table. Rows constitute the horizontal arrangement of the table, and columns are the vertical arrangement of table. The intersection point of the row and column giving a single data point is called cell. The row headings are called stubs and the column headings are called captions. The main part of the table is called the body. And the source note indicating the source and authenticity of data is the source. Footnote constitutes the additional information about the data. Both the source note and footnote are present below the data table. Now let's see the types of tabulation. Tabulation can be of two types majorly, simple or one-way, and complex. Complex is further divided into two-way, three-way and manifold tabulation. Simple or one-way. It involves tabulation of data according to only one characteristic or criteria. For example, gender-wise population of India. Complex can be two-way, three-way or manifold. It involves the tabulation of data according to two or more characteristics. For example, a table showing the population of India in different classes categorized by gender, education, marital status, etc. Two-way tabulation tabulates the data based on two characteristics. For example, gender and education-wise population of India is the example of two-way tabulation. Three-way tabulation, the data is tabulated based on three characteristics. For example, gender, education, and marital status-wise population of India is the example of three-way tabulation. Manifold tabulation tabulates the data based on more than three characteristics. For example, gender, education, marital status, and location-wise population of India. It constitutes the manifold tabulation. The importance of tabulation. Organization makes large amounts of data manageable and understandable. Comparison facilitates easy comparison of different sets of data. Analysis aids in identifying patterns, trends, and relationships within the data. Presentation provides a clear and concise way to present data, making it accessible to others. Thank you for joining me on this journey through our second unit, that is Classification and Tabulation. If you find this unit helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe Statistics for more insights and clarity on statistics. Your support helps us continue creating content that makes complex topics simple and accessible. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn.